The Team VVV Awards 2018, sponsored by Ben Green Racing and Thrustmaster. Hello viewers and welcome to another podcast for the Team VVV Awards 2018. And today we're going to be talking about best vehicle selection, looking at all the different racing games released in 2017, picking the one that had the best range of vehicles available and the detail within those. So we're going to talk about that. I guess first now I'm joined by Martin.
Hi guys.
And Kevin.
Hello viewers.
Hey guys, so let's go through those nominations then. We've got Project Cars 2, Dirt 4, MotoGP 17, Forza Motorsport 7 and GT Sport. Solid selection of games there. Kicking off then, Project Cars 2, Martin, tell me about your thoughts on the vehicle selection within.
Yeah, it's a very solid roster overall, I'd say. I think for motorsport fans, there's a really great selection of Le Mans cars. You've got probably one of the better GT3 class, probably one of the better representations of the GT3 class in a racing game. Pretty much the entire field. I think that does make a difference because I think in Project Cars 1, there were quite a few occasions where you were stuck racing against the same cars in the same grid, if you know what I mean. Had duplicates of each race car, whereas they've really fleshed out some of the classes now. But I think with Project Cars 1, it was more focused on race cars, but with the sequel, they really expanded the road car selection as well to really widen the appeal of the game. Yeah. So you got the debut of Ferrari, Porsche, and Lamborghini, the three big manufacturers there for the first time in the series. So I think that really made it a bigger competitor than to Forza and Gran Turismo, because that was a really sore mission in the last game. Interestingly, it had some debuts as well. You had the racing game debut of the McLaren 720S. That's still not available in any other game, and probably one of my favorite cars of last year as well. So it just shows that they're getting more representation from, so they're getting more recognition from the car manufacturers now. Again, really fun rallycross cars. Yeah, it's a difficult one to fault, to be honest. It might not have as much quantity as some of the others, but it still has twice as much as we had in Project Cars 1. I believe there's 180 cars in total. So yeah, really solid selection, I'd say, for Project Cars 2.
Yeah, I mean, it is. I mean, it's like you say, it's a solid sort of. It's not just about how many a game has got; it's about the detail and the thought that's gone into putting curating
quality
that
over
range.
quantity of all the work.
Absolutely, absolutely. Kevin, your thoughts on Project Cars 2?
Yeah, pretty much what Martin said. You know, it's a good range of cars, both race and road variants. Plenty of classic cars as well, which is always nice to see. And just builds upon Project Cars 1, which we expected to see, and it ticks a lot of boxes. It's a decent car list, no doubt about it.
It's a sheer variety of disciplines as well. I just wanted to add, it really sets it apart.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot packed in there, isn't it? In terms of the whole content, the whole range. Moving on then to Dirt 4, Kevin, what are your thoughts on the range in Dirt 4?
Yeah, it's pretty much recycled from Dirt Rally, a lot of it. So it's there's not an awful lot they can do with Rally. There's only so many cars you can have, I guess. But even so, it's still a little bit on the disappointing side. I mean, especially with other disciplines like Land Rush, there's not a great deal there. I think there's like 3 or 4 Land Rush vehicles there, and so it's quite sparse, I guess. The rally selections are much better. There's a lot more rally cars represented from present and past alike. But for me, it's a little bit underwhelming, Dirt 4.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, certainly the Land Rush was a missed opportunity, but in that sense, they didn't even have enough tracks, really, did they?
No,
there was 3
right.
locations. It was just sort of bolt on in that way. I don't think it's a shame you couldn't use those trucks on the rally courses as well.
Yeah.
just another thing for the reason. Martin, any thoughts on Dirt 4?
Yes, it's kind of typical Codemaster selection, really, isn't it? Overall, a pretty good selection, I'd say, especially when you consider that, unlike WRC 7, it has a lot of, like Kevin said, classic, vintage rally cars, some of the more iconic rally cars. But yeah, it's obviously it doesn't have the official 2017 championship cars. So I always think it's a shame that we can't have a combination really of WRC and say dirt. Yeah, overall it's a fairly solid selection for rally fans. If you're a fan of the like I said, the more iconic cars.
Okay, so next then, MotoGP 17. It's bikes. It's official bikes. What's so special about it, Kevin?
Well, I mean, with officially licensed title, there's only sort of so much you can add. But I guess with MotoGP 17, they've added pretty much as much as they could, because you've not only got MotoGP, you've also got Moto2, Moto3 classes. And on top of that, you've got Red Bull rookies and even some historical bikes, which was great to see, and along with historical riders. So, it's on here because we recognise the fact that even under the officially licensed restrictions, if you like, they still have added quite a lot of variety in terms of vehicles and indeed riders as well. So, perhaps it won't boast the numbers that these other titles can, but the fact that they're under sort of quite strict limitations, I guess, in terms of licensed products. So I've added a decent amount of vehicles there for me, so it should be added on this list.
Well, we're going to move swiftly on, as time is limited on this podcast, to Forza Motorsport 7. And I know this needs a bit more time. Forza Motorsport 7 has a huge range. Martin, talk us through it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the obvious thing to say, really, it has by far the biggest selection of cars in any current generation racing game. I believe it's just over 700 cars. But of course, it's not just the quantity that stands out here, it's also the sheer quality of the selection. You can always tell with a Forza game, it's obviously made by developers that are really passionate car lovers, and they're really just showing the car selection. People often joke in Gran Turismo it has dozens and dozens of near identical Nissan Skylines. Well, you don't get that in Forza Motorsport, and it was really the same in Forza Motorsport 7. It has many. I think it has the most up-to-date car selection as well.
Yeah, and yet on top of that, not only does it have the most up-to-date car selection, but it also boasts probably the most classic cars as well. So you have multiple manufacturers that are represented through the decades, which is fantastic to see. And Gran Turismo Sport, for example, cannot touch Forza in terms of car list on the more sort of modern cars, I guess. It's sorely lacking, but with Motorsport 7, I mean, it just seems to tick every box, don't they?
I think really what says it all is the fact that the Porsche 911 GT2 RS was revealed simultaneously, as in the actual car was revealed simultaneously with the game. That just shows how close a relationship they have with the manufacturers. I think that was a massive milestone event for representation of cars in video games.
Yeah, it's like GT Sport is sort of moving away from that, isn't it, with the Vision GT thing. They're still working alongside these manufacturers, of course, but they're not really pushing the sort of modern cars. They can't boast that which Forza does so epically well.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, Forza Motorsport 7 has always had a great range, but in terms of they have the scale, if you like, but they also have that curated range of detailed, automotive excellence. And I think that's something where they've maintained that from Forza Horizon to this. It's been somewhere where they've not been challenged. But the challenger is the next one up, which is GT Sport. Tell me your thoughts, Kevin, on the cars in GT Sport.
Yes, I mean, going back to Vision Gran Turismo, it makes up quite a fair portion of the car list, which, if you're not a fan of Gran Turismo Vision cars, that's not a good thing. But, on the flip side, you're not going to have endless Skylines here. But there is a
one
lack.
Nissan Skyline, isn't there? GT Sport.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, if you don't count the GTR as a Skyline, which technically it's not. So yeah, I mean, it's okay the list, but it is lacking. It covers all the basics, I guess, with the motorsports, various categories, GT3 and GT4, etc. But it doesn't feel like a classic Gran Turismo game in the sense that you don't have that epic encyclopedia of cars. You don't have that journey. You don't have that same buzz that you had with other titles. But then again, I guess they're not going for that with sports. So it is what it is. But in terms of comparing them to other titles, it does fall quite short, in my opinion.
I suppose on a more positive note with GT Sport, at least there's no standard car models this time. They have actually, in fairness, been remodeled from the ground up this time, and they are by far the most detailed car models in any racing game I've ever seen.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you see them in the VR mode as well, in the showroom mode, you get to see all that detail firsthand, and it just looks absolutely stunning.
Yeah, exactly. So there is that at least. You don't get those horrible low resolution PS2 era car models. But yeah, the overall selection for me was really lacking. There was just nothing really that said wow to me. I can't wait to drive that. Yeah, the Vision GT cars are a fun novelty, but like you said, they dominate the car selection too much for me.
Yeah.
I think that's the thing is, when you look at GT Sport, yes, they're well modelled, but they're also well modelled in Forza Motorsport. They're also well modelled in Project Cars 2 in the same way. So good modelling is not enough. You need that range and you need that variety. And in essence, that's where the decision needs to be made. So this brings us to the end of our best vehicle selection. So votes then, kicking off. Then Kevin, what would be your vote for the winner?
Yeah, I'd say although Project Cars 2 has a strong vehicle selection, for me, head and shoulders, the winner has to be Forza Motorsport 7 because the sheer number, the sheer range of cars throughout the decades, nobody can touch it in terms of that. So for me, it's a clear winner here, Forza 7.
Martin, your thoughts?
Yeah, same here. Project Cars 2 is a really close runner-up, but Forza Motorsport 7 seals it for me. Yeah, by far the most comprehensive selection of cars. But like I said earlier, it gets that balance of quality and quantity just right to appeal to as many audiences as they can. I know it's not been. I know it wasn't released in the game last year, but for example, we've just had the release of the Bugatti Chiron for the first time in any racing game, and that's the most requested car by the community. So they really do listen to what the community wants in terms of the car selection as well. So I think that deserves recognition. But yeah, definitely Forza 7 for me.
That's really important, isn't it? That recognition from the community, and that's a good point. And also, I think Forza Motorsport 7 has been a bastion for bringing cars into video games that haven't been in games before as well. They have been trying to do that, and there is that automotive passion there. I think, really echoing your thoughts, really, I think Project Cars 2 has a great selection. GT Sport has somewhat lackluster selection compared to what we expect from a GT game. And Forza Motorsport 7 is head and shoulders the best selection of cars in a video game at the moment. It really is a fantastic work. And so the winner is Forza Motorsport 7. Amazing work by Turn 10 Studios. They always do an incredible job. The look, the detail, the range, it really is well thought out, and it's driven by passion. There's no doubt about that. And the fact they listen to their community as well, bravo to them. Brilliant to see. And they use their industry muscle, I guess, to flex and bring all those different cars together into one massive package. And that's it, really, for this award. Winner, of course, Forza Motorsport 7 for Best Vehicle Selection. And there'll be more awards to come and more from us very soon. The Team VVV Awards 2018, sponsored by Ben Green Racing and Thrustmaster.